Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Right now, somewhere in your kitchen, there is a simple little food sitting quietly, waiting. Blamed for problems it never caused, feared for reasons science can no longer justify, and completely misunderstood by generations. That food is the egg. Yes, the ordinary egg. The one you've opened, cracked, scrambled, boiled, or fried thousands of times without giving it a second thought. For decades, doctors told you to avoid it. Your grandmother warned you about cholesterol. Health organizations put strict limits like 2-3 eggs per week, saying more would spike your cholesterol, clog your arteries, and destroy your heart. That fear didn't last 5 years or 10 years, it lasted over 50 years. It shaped grocery lists, medical brochures, school lunch programs, and even how people viewed breakfast. But here is the truth most people never learned. The original science behind egg fear came from flawed experiments in the 1960s, and those conclusions were never validated in humans at the scale we have today. In fact, they weren't even tested on humans at all. They were tested on rabbits, herbivores that process dietary cholesterol in a completely different way than we do. The entire world built a health panic on a species that doesn't even eat eggs in nature. But while the world feared eggs, science advanced, evolved, corrected itself, collected new data, population studies, molecular analysis, and tracked health outcomes across hundreds of thousands of people. The new conclusions don't whisper, they challenge everything. So buckle up, because today we're rewriting history, one egg at a time. Let's get into it. The original cholesterol hypothesis was based on an experiment where researchers fed pure cholesterol to rabbits and observed clogged arteries. Then they made a massive assumption. Humans would respond the same way. But rabbits are herbivores. Their bodies don't handle cholesterol like ours. Humans have a built-in regulation system. When you eat cholesterol, your liver responds by producing less of its own to maintain internal balance. This is basic physiology, and it was completely ignored in early studies. But modern science fixed that oversight. One landmark meta-analysis published in the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition reviewed 40 separate studies involving 300,000-plus participants, and the goal was clear: end the egg debate once and for all, and the result genuinely shocked the medical and nutrition community. Healthy individuals showed no significant association between eating eggs and increased heart disease risk. That means the cholesterol in eggs had minimal impact on blood cholesterol levels for most people. The old 300 mg daily cholesterol limit that once haunted nutrition guidelines has now been removed for healthy adults because your body self-regulates dietary cholesterol more intelligently than flawed science once assumed. To put this into perspective, one large egg contains about 186 milligallons of cholesterol, which means eating 1 to 3 eggs daily fits comfortably within modern safety margins for most healthy adults. And science no longer supports the old panic that eggs directly raise cholesterol and destroy your heart. But then came even louder evidence. A 10-year study published in the journal Heart tracked over 400,000 adults in China for nearly a decade. And the outcome flipped the narrative completely. People who ate eggs daily had an 18% lower risk of cardiovascular death compared to those who rarely ate eggs. That is not a rounding error. That is a meaningful reduction in mortality risk. One of the largest longitudinal human diet studies ever conducted, proving that daily egg consumption for healthy adults doesn't just appear safe, it appears protective in some populations. But eggs are not just about cholesterol. Your heart is not the only organ that has been quietly suffering from egg avoidance. Your bones, brain, eyes, and even your energy metabolism have been waiting for this moment to finally be heard, because eggs contain nutrients most people chase in supplement aisles. Let's talk bones. Most people think calcium is the only thing bones need, so they reach for dairy, pills, and supplements. But here is the truth. Calcium is useless without vitamin D. Vitamin D works as the master key for calcium absorption. Without enough vitamin D, your intestines simply cannot absorb calcium efficiently, and no amount of calcium supplementation will fully compensate. Eggs are one of the few foods that naturally contain vitamin D, and one large egg provides about 6% of your daily vitamin D requirement. That might sound small until you realize how rare vitamin D is in natural foods. Another population study found that regular egg consumption was associated with significantly higher vitamin D levels year-round, especially during winter months between October and March, when sunlight exposure drops dramatically and vitamin D deficiency becomes widespread. Your skin produces vitamin D from sunlight, but seasonal shifts make millions deficient every single year. Eggs fill that winter gap. But here is the tragedy most people don't realize. Vitamin D is almost entirely found in the yolk. When people throw away the yolk to cut calories or avoid cholesterol, they throw away vitamin D. They also throw away vitamin K2. Vitamin K2 directs calcium into your bones and teeth instead of your arteries. A study published in the European Journal of Clinical Nutrition found that adequate vitamin K2 intake reduced fracture risk by up to 80% in some populations, and eggs contain both vitamin D and K2 working synergistically. For strong bones, you need the whole egg, not just the whites, the yolk. And here is the simplest hack to enhance vitamin D absorption from eggs even further. Cook eggs in olive oil or pair them with avocado because fats help fat-soluble vitamins cross into your bloodstream efficiently. If you add leafy greens to your eggs, you add calcium to the same plate, creating a complete bone-building meal without a single pill. Next, the brain. Inside your skull, billions of neurons are firing electrical impulses and communicating through neurotransmitters. One of the most important is acetylcholine. This neurotransmitter controls memory, learning, attention, focus, and even muscle signaling. To produce acetylcholine, your brain needs choline, and most people are severely deficient without knowing it. The National Health and Nutrition Examination Survey found that 90% of Americans fail to meet the adequate intake for choline. And while broccoli tries its best, you would need 3 cups of broccoli to match the choline in 1 egg. Eggs deliver 147 milligrams of choline per large egg, about 27% of the daily adequate intake for women and 22% for men. That makes eggs the most accessible, affordable, brain-boosting food you can add to breakfast. One study published in the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition tracked over 1,500 adults for years and found that higher choline intake was associated with better memory performance and slower cognitive decline even when controlling for lifestyle factors. Another study examined pregnancy choline intake and found that children whose mothers consumed adequate choline scored higher in memory and attention tests by age 7. Proving that eggs don't just fuel the brain now, they shape the brain before birth. And again, choline is almost entirely in the yolk. The white contains virtually none. So if you're eating only egg whites, you're eating protein. Yes, but you're starving the brain. Now, protein quality. Not just how many grams, but how efficiently your body can actually use the protein. Scientists measure protein quality using biological value, a scale from 0 to 100, and eggs score 100. The gold standard. Beef scores 80, chicken 79. Most plant proteins fall between 50-70. 1 large egg gives you 6 grams of complete protein, containing all 9 essential amino acids in the exact ratios your body needs to build tissue, maintain muscle, repair enzymes, and fuel immune cell synthesis. One study compared muscle protein synthesis after consuming whole eggs versus egg whites with equal protein grams. Whole eggs stimulated muscle protein synthesis 40% more effectively even when total protein grams were equal. Why? Because nutrients in the yolk dramatically enhance protein utilization. This matters even more because after age 50, millions of adults experience sarcopenia, losing 8% of muscle every decade, and eggs provide an affordable, digestible, and highly usable protein source for aging bodies that science can no longer ignore. But eggs also protect eyesight. Inside your retina, a small region called the macula absorbs light daily, especially blue light, and over time, that exposure contributes to age-related macular degeneration, the leading cause of vision loss after age 50. Eggs contain lutein and zeaxanthin, carotenoids that accumulate directly in the macula, filtering harmful blue light and functioning as antioxidants. Leafy greens contain more carotenoids on paper, but eggs dominate in absorption. One study found 3x higher lutein absorption from eggs than spinach because the fats in the yolk dramatically enhance carotenoid bioavailability. If you add one boiled egg to a salad, you enhance carotenoid absorption from the entire meal, not just the egg. That makes eggs a multiplier, not just a source. Now, blood sugar and energy. Every time you eat, your blood sugar rises. How high and how fast depends on the composition of the meal. Eggs have a glycemic index of essentially 0, producing almost no blood sugar spike at all. That means no morning sugar crash, no 10-hour snack panic. One study compared an egg breakfast to a bagel breakfast with identical calories. The egg group felt fuller for longer, consumed fewer calories throughout the day, and lost 65% more weight over 8 weeks. Another study had diabetic participants eat 2 eggs or oatmeal for breakfast daily for 5 weeks. The egg group improved fasting blood sugar and hemoglobin A1C levels, proving that long-term glucose control didn't worsen from eating eggs. It improved in that population. And now, longevity. The 2024 breakthrough. One of the largest mortality studies ever tracked 500,000 plus adults across multiple countries for 16 plus years. The result? Eating 1 to 3 eggs daily was not associated with increased all-cause mortality. In some analyses, moderate egg consumption was linked to reduced mortality risk, but higher than 3 eggs daily showed mixed responses, mainly in individuals with diabetes or existing cardiovascular conditions, and about 25 to 30% of people are hyperresponders who may want to stay closer to 1 egg daily while monitoring their lipid panel if concerned. But for everyone else, science supports flexibility up to 3 eggs daily. So here is the simplest evidence-based upgrade you can make starting tomorrow. Add 1 egg to your routine. Choose eggs with deep orange yolks. Color indicates carotenoid density. Avoid ultra-processed fats that steal the blame for cholesterol. Boil, poach, or gently scramble to preserve nutrients and deactivate avidin. Eat the whole egg. Let this tiny habit compound for years because the science is no longer blurry. The myths are gone. The silence is over. The only question left is this: what will you do with the truth? Your breakfast plate is waiting. And now I want to hear from you. What is your favorite way to prepare eggs? Scrambled, poached, boiled, something creative? Drop it in the comments. You might inspire someone's breakfast tomorrow. And tell me, how many eggs do you eat daily? Did the cholesterol myth ever stop you? Let me know below. I read the comments and I reply, thanks for watching and see you in the next one.